Test, test.
Loud and clear.
All right. Probably bugs you that it takes me so much time to get ready.
No, it's up to you.
I just want to make sure that it's all right, so I don't ever like to. I should probably turn this thing.
Well, and you don't want to. It's not you. Yours is only for you.
What do you mean?
And how? That's not a transmit button. That's a hearing button.
Right.
So if I sounds like I'm yelling at you, or if it sounds like the radios are too loud, you've actually got quite a few ways to turn the volume up and down. You can set that wide open, or
it's wide open.
Not quite wide open. This knob sounds like I'm yelling at you, or
I don't hear it all now.
So now you want something that's comfortable.
That feels comfortable.
And then this one's the same way, except that's the talking on the radios.
Right.
This one is the same thing for this radio.
Okay.
For here, hit enter. Yep, right there. Right there. And hit it again. And that will bring the radio up and let it figure out where it is. And when it does, it's going to show you a picture.
So 122.7 is
the Unicom common traffic
for the airport.
Frequency for the airport.
And then 126.72 is the weather.
Okay.
So if we hear the weather.
Right. So if you want to not talk on number 2, just listen. You hit the top button. If you want to kill out number 1, you can just hit the bottom button and you could transmit, just nobody would hear you.
Okay.
Wouldn't be anybody on the frequency.
So to get back to talking and being transmitting, I just go back to 1?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just weather right now.
Person County Airport. Automated weather observation. 1547 Zulu. Weather. Wind 330 at 7. Wind variable between.
So 33 is probably favoring runway 6 ever so slightly.
10.
So the wind socks look like they're still favoring 24.
Temperature.
What do you want to try?
I would say if this guy's still in the pattern doing 24, we'll do 24.
Okay. That's you?
Yep, that pink is me, and I don't see him, so I don't know if he left or if he...
And what about all this here?
That's where we've been.
Oh, okay.
Those are called breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Or mouse tracks, depending on which company made them. But that's where the plane's been.
Okay.
See how many times it's been around the pattern.
Couple. All right. We're going to set the radio set DJ.
So it goes to the compass.
All right, so we're just a little bit off, maybe. Looks like it's okay.
All right.
What do you think?
I think you're all right.
Okay. Brakes to check and release.
You want the plane to start to roll. It might take a little power to do that. And then you want to touch the brakes and make sure you can stop it before you get so fast.
Test yours.
And then once you got that, then you want to get the power only so at the speed you need to go. When you're on a ramp, you never want to be lickety-split.
Okay.
Because it's just too easy to miss seeing something, run into another plane, run into a person. It's just too much going on. It's like a parking lot. You don't go down the parking lot running 50 miles an hour. Same thing here. So whatever power setting you need is up to you, but you just don't want to go really fast.
Right.
And then you want to mainly control your speed with throttle, not with brakes. So your brakes are only for stopping and for turning tight. And also, anytime you're taxiing on the ground, whatever, you really need a hand there. Again, you never know when you need to shoot a little bit more throttle or take some out or get emergency stop or whatever. You just never know what you're going to deal with.
Okay.
And if you're sitting here with your hand, kind of flapping in the breeze, now you got to figure out where that throttle is again.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo, turning final runway 24, Person County.
All right, so we'll go 24.
Okay.
And most of the time, people, once they, if they start They don't go back and listen to the weather later on. They just keep what they've been doing. Not to say that's correct or incorrect. It's just that's the way people do it.
Yeah, it looks like it's favoring 2-4. I mean, it goes,
tiny bit,
yeah, it goes sideways, but then it'll every now and then it'll turn.
It look good. Yeah, your landings, if it's a little bit gusty, especially a crosswind, are not likely to be all of them perfect. Much as we'd like to be perfect all the time, it just doesn't happen. And that's to be expected. But at the same token, you want to be continually working to be as good as you can possibly be.
I guess this is your way of saying don't beat yourself up.
Don't be too hard on yourself. You're learning, and that takes a while to figure it all out, and it's got to imprint into your thought process so you don't have to think, you just do it.
Right.
So you have to transfer it from your conscious part of your brain to your subconscious part of the brain.
I'm going to stop right here. That's okay?
Yep. I like to stop short of the line. I like to be able to see that line over the nose.
Okay.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo, cleared runway 24 at Alpha 4, Person County.
Flight controls checked. Flight instruments checked. Oh.
So now...
I didn't catch the altimeter.
Weather observation.
My fault.
1552. Zulu, weather, wind 340 at 4, visibility 10, clear below 12,000, temperature 13 Celsius, dew point -3, altimeter 3002.
So it's fairly close. It may be on 03 right now.
Person County Airport. Automated weather observation. 1552.
Each of the little tiny hash marks is a 2.
Wind
Yeah.
3.
I think it's fine.
And then once you're through, go back to your other so that we know what's going on around us.
Right here?
Yep.
You already pushed it.
Yep. So you look, see where the lights are on.
Yeah.
All right.
Fuel selector both. Rich. RPM 1700. What did I do? I went
Turn it
off.
off. Normally, if you do that, you're ahead to just let it die
Oh, I'm sorry.
and then crank it again. The reason is that if you're not careful, you can cause it to backfire.
Okay.
And not that you control it, it just sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And you want to make sure that, ideally, not to let it happen because it could blow the muffler.
Okay. I think it's just about right. Oh, let me check this. 50, 70, 15.
Now, once you see it fall, there's nothing to be gained by waiting.
Okay.
On your mags, you want to wait just a tiny bit because you want them to stabilize.
Okay.
Well, if they stabilize and it's running okay, there's nothing to be gained by sitting there waiting to see if the world's going to change.
Okay.
But if you on one mag, you may be fouling out the spark plugs on the other mag.
Okay.
So you may actually be creating a problem by taking too long.
Okay.
But the carb heat, there's just no advantage to one way or the other. Just does it work or does it not work?
All right. One last check of the DD looks good. Engine instruments.
Which are here. They're all in the green.
Yep.
And we're charging.
Okay. And fuel quantity is definitely about 3/4 now.
Okay.
So that's good. Amp meters are doing fine.
Yep.
All right, landing lights on.
So 4 switches up.
4.
4. Those and the right one. That's correct.
Okay. And transponder should be set to altitude.
Okay, and it will once it comes off the runway.
Oh, okay.
So it's automatically, it's on the ground.
On ground 12 and then boom. Okay, cool. Flaps up. All right, cool. Oh, let me turn this on. Come on. There we go. All right. So should I announce that I'm...
Yes.
But
taking off.
So do I announce it before I cross? Or
Yes. No,
okay.
absolutely before, because if somebody is on short file and you just didn't see them,
Okay.
you don't want to pull out in front of them.
Okay.
You want to give them a chance to say, whoa, wait a minute.
Okay. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is taking off runway 24, Person County.
Good. Now, look carefully, hand on the throttle. Remember, don't ride the brakes. That's expensive. Wears the brakes out, wears the tires out, makes me have to up my rate.
Oh, snap.
Hey, beginning to see the connection here.
Sound like a warning.
Yeah, you take care of my stuff, I keep the rates low. I have to pay more money to maintain, rates got to go up. Obviously, one person isn't going to create all that, but if I train everybody to do it correctly, then the rates stay down. You're going for the center line. The wind is blowing, but not very hard off the right side. So don't steer with your hands. You want to hold the wing down there a little bit into the wind. Okay. Steer with your feet. Really, really concentrate. Feet, feet, feet.
I think I'm more comfortable.
Okay.
All right.
You got it. Right foot. Well, hand on the throttle. Right foot. Tiny bit of pressure on that right foot. Just kind of the weight of your big toe. And rotate. Right foot. Rotate. Good. Pitch into the horizon. Nose coming up, tip of the cowling touching the horizon. About 10 degrees pitch up. Good, right about there. Looking for 80 or so, 75 to 80 on the climb speed. And away we go. Now, the more you look around, the better your pilot you're going to be.
GPS 3 approach, full stop, Johnston region.
One of the things it does is it forces you into looking around for other planes. It also expands out your confidence level of the plane isn't just requiring you to keep it balanced out all the time.
Two Sierra Papa starting downwind, runway 22, Tower City, full stop.
November 51 Alpha Sierra is 7 miles from the field, straight in, runway 22, 178, full stop. Tower City, Archer 581, we're turning left, calling runway 22.
I think it's probably ready to turn.
All right.
Going for Johnson. Johnson's frequency is 122725.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning left for crosswind, Person County.
City, traffic, Archer 581 Kilo, turning downwind.
Traffic, Liberty 124, turning left to crosswind.
Tower City traffic.
You don't want to get way out here.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24, Person County.
You get out 1.5 miles, nobody will know you're out here. They're looking for people closer in.
Yeah.
Right, you're not bad.
It's my first one for the day.
It's a little wide, but not bad.
No, it's like the first waffle, you throw the first waffle out.
So you can now turn in and move back into closer where you ought to, where it would be appropriate. Again, these are not magical things. These are just, you know, I'd like to be close enough so if the engine sputters, I can get back to the runway.
Yeah.
Is it mandatory? No. I can fly a bigger pattern if I need to.
More of a teardrop.
Now you want the altitude also to be at 16. Remember that the more you start at the same keyhole getting down, the easier it is going to be to figure out what has to adjust. The more you do it differently every time, the harder time you're going to have mastering it. So you want in your head the numbers that you need to be using. You know, the altitude, the power setting, the pitch setting, and the heading. Now don't dive in. Level out. Turn to parallel. Level out. You're still coming down. I can look at it and tell. Right about there is level.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, you got to be able to see that. All right, power is good. We're about to be in the end of the runway. We can start setting up.
All right.
Carb heat.
Carb heat.
Left or right. Carb heat. Keep your nose up, because if you don't, we lose altitude at high speed. That's not what we want to accomplish. We want to stay up and slow down.
Entering runway 24, staying in the pattern.
Flaps.
Okay, now you can pitch the nose down a tiny bit. Remember those flaps pitch up, you have to compensate. So now you're about the right speed. You can let the nose about where you have it and make your turn to base leg. Looking good.
Person County Traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24. Person County.
Okay, so we're looking at our path over the ground, wanting to fly a rectangle. We want to roll out enough to take a look at the runway so nobody's coming out. We don't want to cut in front of them. Now the notch of flaps. Good.
Person County Traffic.
Roll your pitch. And make your turn in.
Person County Traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning left.
Turning finals 24. Person County 2 Papa Alpha final 24 person. All right, so now go to power back a little more because we're a little bit fast. You see the speed? Just like a car coming down the hill. You've got to stop at the stop sign. You better get off the gas. Flaps coming in, that's your brake pedal. And we're aiming for the 1,000-foot mark. You're looking pretty good, tiny bit fast, but it'll slow down because you don't have as much power. It's just like your car. Same deal. And your only difference is you're controlling how steep the hill is. You don't want the end of that runway rising, because if it is, we're going to hit short. You want to hold your pitch as steady as you can, seeing the end coming under us. Speed's down to 70, that's looking good. Nobody on the far end, back to looking at our side. Now we're going to put the right wing down ever so slightly, right about there. And a tiny, tiny bit of left foot, and you got a little too much.
Yeah.
But you got to keep working it. Remember, you don't want to chase back past level. If you pitch past level, we're fixing to be an accident. If you feel that's needed, you probably need some power to settle the plane down. Carb heat call. Remember, you need a tiny bit of right foot as you rotate the nose. Now, my guess is you're close to where you need to be looking, but probably too close to you.
I was looking at the aiming marker, and it seemed to be pretty steady.
Right, but your eyes have to move as the plane approaches it. If you stare only at it, later on you can do that because your brain's trained well enough. Right now, your eyes need to look at that distance and then slide with it.
2 stripes forward.
2 to 3.
Okay.
If you're consistently jerky, it's usually that you're looking too close.
Okay.
If you're consistently landing flat, it's usually that you're looking too far ahead.
Okay.
But part of it's technique, and you know, you got to hit your targets. When people learn to race cars, they have targets. They have the place they're going to let off, the place they're going to drift into the turn, the place they're going to get back on the gas. And if you listen to them on the radio, they're talking about, are you hitting your targets?
Miles
Right.
of the field inbound for runway 24, Wayne executive traffic, straight in.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County.
Good.
Person County traffic 747 Papa Kilo is on base.
Keep your nose up, because otherwise we're level and going fast. What we want to do is climb at an optimum speed till we get to 1600 and then level out. Then push over level. Good, whatever it takes. Then look quickly and then turn downwind, because the wind's blowing you away to start with. If it takes you very long to make this turn, we're going to be out wide again. Push your nose down. Good, there you go. Power back a little bit. My engine's saying, help me, help me. He's beating me.
I'm too far.
2300 RPM. If you're a little wide, just angle in a little bit. But why are you playing? What do you want to accomplish?
I just wish I could be a little bit more consistent, that's all.
Okay, well, it's a learned technique. I've got another pilot, or a couple more this year, past year, that have had a lot of trouble seeing the pitch. Okay? And I don't have a super answer for this, so let me have the controls for a minute.
Okay.
So somewhere about here, your eyes should be hitting the horizon.
Okay.
Now, it may not be dead sighted down my finger, but that ought to be close. All right, so is that about right?
I'm a little bit below that.
About there?
Yeah.
All right, so if I do this, what do you see?
The sky. Now I got the horizon back.
Okay, so there's level.
I'm using this
What's
too.
this?
I'm going below.
All right, this is very helpful, okay?
Right.
But it's a delayed reaction. You got to anticipate some. You have the controls.
Okay.
Got to anticipate some. It's mainly a matter of seeing the relationship of the tip of your cowling to the horizon.
Okay.
That's the main key. And about there is level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne executive
And
traffic.
then it doesn't matter how much pressure is in your hand, that's what you got to have. So carb heat, power and flaps.
Field inbound from runway 24.
You see the nose drop?
Wayne executive traffic.
Good. And as you pull power out, you got to put muscle in that left hand. Pull a little harder. Now I can see that you're about to squeeze my grip to the point that there's going to be notches in it. I can tell by looking at your hand when I see the white. So work your fingers. Relax a little bit.
I can't.
Yes, you can. Trust me.
I can't.
Trust me.
It's hard.
I know it's hard. That's what we're working on. Fly with 2 fingers in your thumb. 2 fingers in your thumb.
Number 747
Yeah.
Papa Kilo, downwind runway 24, Person County.
One's right behind us.
No, he's not. He's far enough back. That's his problem anyway. We're in front of him, but we have the right of way. All right, make your turn in.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24, Person County.
Now, don't let that nose drop way down. It needs to be down a little bit. You're good there, just not way down. Okay, so pitch control, pitch control, pitch control. I can tell you if you see 10 down, you're too steep. All right, so got to be down a little bit. Right about there. Remember that aiming we talked about?
Yep.
1,000-foot point. Now, looks to me we're high, so back your power out. We already got the brakes on. We're aimed where we want to go. We're just fast.
Okay.
So fast and high, we just pull the power out. But, you know, you're aiming for the 1,000 foot. Now, if the hill gets so steep you just can't get the plane to slow down, then you have no choice but to pitch it up a little bit to control your speed, which means you're going to land past those points. That's okay. As long as we're going to land before the halfway point down the runway, I'm good. I'd like to be around the 1,000-foot point, but I don't have to be.
747 Papa Kilo, turning base, runway
Looking good.
24, Person County.
Power all the way out. Starting to bring the nose up it right now. See it starting to widen. Looking about 3 stripes ahead of you. Let them come up very slowly. Pull back slowly. Pull back. Keep pulling slowly till you feel it touch. Once it touches, give it about 5 seconds, then relax your pressure on the yoke so it doesn't pitch back up on you.
Traffic November 747.
Plane her up and go.
Final runway 24, Person County.
And person 2 Papa Alpha's taking off on 24. And pull. Now, remember that the little tires don't like to turn much more than about 60. So the plane isn't accelerating very fast if you leave it on the ground.
Okay.
It really wants to be in the air.
I guess for
somewhere 55 to 60 is good.
For some reason, I was thinking if I waited just a little bit longer with the crosswind, it might be safer to take off a little faster.
Well, that would be true. If it were really hard gusting wind, I would absolutely agree with you.
Okay.
I would say 65.
Okay. That was my thought process.
Yeah, and that's a good thought process, okay? Because you know, they tell you half the wind gust. Today, that's about 3 to 4 knots.
Which is not much.
Yeah, so if you're 55 to 60, if you're pulling back by 60, you've got plenty of green arc below between you and the stall speed. And then there's 1300, so we'll go and make our turn.
Okay. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24. Person County.
Fantastic, 702 15 miles, final runoff 24, Person County.
Doing good. Look around and turn.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24. Person County.
Remember, the wind's pushing you away, so the longer you
I gotta
wait,
turn sooner. Yep.
the wider you get.
You're absolutely right.
And then once you level, then reduce your power back to 23. Keep your nose down, because if you leave your plane was already trimmed for about 2,300 RPM in cruise. If you leave the power at 25, it's going to keep fighting you because it wants to go to the speed that 2,300 would maintain, not the speed that 2,500 RPM will maintain.
747 Papa Kilo, turning left crosswind, runway 24, staying in the pattern, Person County.
Okay, so turn in just a little bit because we don't want to be out really wide here. And we want to really be working pitch control. Remember, that's kind of your weak link is pitch control.
Yes, it is.
And then we don't want to torture the yoke.
I was watching one training video
Turn in just a little bit.
that said I should put a pencil between my fingers.
Yeah,
You grip it too hard. You heard that?
I've heard it years ago. I never remember to think about it.
Pilot City traffic, Skyhawk 53587 is departing to the east.
I call it the white knuckle syndrome when your hand's that tense.
Think I got white knuckles?
All right, I have the controls. Now, if it wasn't trimmed quite right, then yes, you did have to keep holding back on it. That would be a little bit of a problem.
Person County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo.
I've got the controls.
Wind runway 24,
All right.
following the Cessna.
Nobody's got the controls. So the trim was the issue, huh?
Trim was off a little bit, yeah. Person County, 2 Papa Alpha, turning base 24 will be a touch and go.
Traffic 702 10 miles, final runoff 24 on Person County.
20 miles?
Yeah. Now notice that I think I told you early on, I don't really like working real hard here. I'd much rather the plane learn how to do what it needs to do, and I'd come up with a procedure that pretty much sets up everything for me so I don't have to work too hard. A little bit high, so I'm going to back the power out a little bit more. Person County, 2 Papa Alpha, turning final 24. These green trees right here are in line with the runway. If I go across the tops of those trees in my turn, I should be pretty close to lined up. We're just a little bit high, going to full flaps. Speed's about 75, so I'm going to back the power out just a little bit. Still got a little bit of power in, not a lot. And we're now just drifting down.
First County traffic, November 747.
I'm just very light pitch adjustments. Notice how my fingers are very light pitch adjustments here. Not really fighting this hardly at all. Now, down to about 65, so I'm going to put the power back up just a shade.
4 mile final, runway 5, practice on.
From here, I want to put the wing down if I need to line up on the center line, looking at the 1,000-foot, power coming all the way out. As the plane drifts in, I'm very, very slowly bringing the nose up. Very slowly, about 2 to 3 stripes. And there we are. Clean it up.
Person County traffic, November 7.
You have the controls.
My controls?
Final runway 24, Person County.
That's good. Beautiful. Right up on the horizon. Just barely touching the horizon. Again, what you're trying to do here is get the nose up enough so that if the motor quits, we got options.
Yep.
Because if we're too low, we cannot transfer the speed into safety efficiently. It'll help a tiny bit, but then it also, the change makes the judgment hard. So if we can climb somewhere around 75 to 80, we are in the best position should anything go wrong. And that's very subtle pitch changes based on the fact that we have full power. There's no power change.
Right.
Sometime in the past, I had somebody say, oh, you need to be at 70, they pull the power out. Well, I guess that makes sense. But it's not the efficient way to get away from the ground.
Person County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24.
So in a small airplane, it's always climb with the throttle wide open. So you're trying to get high enough so if the motor quit, can you get back to the airport? And if you aren't doing this sufficiently, it won't happen.
Person County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24, Person County.
So what I really wanted that student to do was pitch the nose up higher. Had the right concept, yeah, the power would do it, but you aren't climbing much. Just those buzzards, that's a good thing, then turn downwind. We're angled out away from the airport a little bit.
Yeah, that wind pushed me a little bit more. I tried to turn fast, but I didn't turn fast enough.
All a matter of learning.
Turning crosswind runway 24, Person County.
All a matter of learning.
And the Harnett County type position. Currently on an extended downwind for 5 on it. 4 Papa Fox is on left.
That's better.
Yeah.
I got you.
Dipping a little bit.
There you go. I told you could do that.
Oh, that balloon.
Push on it. Push on the yoke.
Fantastic, 712 to aim.
And the reason it ballooned is because you put the flaps in while it still had power in. It's the reason why when you get a beam your touchdown, there's a procedure. Carb heat, then power, then flaps. Now, some airplanes are different.
47 Papa Kilos on the left downwind runway 24, Person County, following the Cessna.
There are, you know, you fly things like that are really high performance, use flaps at a lot higher airspeed at a different place. But for most single engine, slower planes, you know, beam your touchdown, you work left to right.
6 Bravo Lima, turning base to final runway 5, Harnett.
Person County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24, Person County.
Looking good. Right on 80, right on 1700, 10 flaps, 500 feet a minute, you're looking good.
For you to extend outward.
Keep coming down, you're looking good. Person County, 2 Papa Alpha's turning final 24, touch and go person.
Not over those trees like I'm supposed to be.
First County Traffic, Symbol 21228, we have the Cessna on final. We're going to come in land behind you. Person County.
All right, we'll just do a boarded landing and let you, so you won't jam you up too bad.
Much appreciated, 21228.
You don't want me to land?
Can you extend your downwind a little bit for us?
Yeah, we're going to drop on the end, keep coming, power back some. You're going to set it up like you're going to land, you're just not going to take as much time.
Okay.
So, power coming on back.
Rouge traffic, County 6126 November.
Keep aiming for your point. Remember, you got to multitask here. Nose down slightly, power back slightly. Right now, all power's doing is hanging you up here. Now, to go around,
County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo.
so smoothly add wide open, wide open, wide open, wide open.
I'm sorry.
Now, when you do that, what happens is it tries to pitch you up, okay?
Right, because of the flaps?
Because of the power and the flaps.
Okay.
So in order to not pitch way up, the killer here is if you shove that power in, it rotates you way high because it is a lot of air blowing over your elevator. Okay, make sense?
Yeah.
And so as you do this, it's a balancing of pitch and power. And the rest of the flaps coming up, you can feel the change.
Yeah.
And you don't do that till you're well clear of the trees.
Okay.
If you do it too soon, then the plane real often will settle.
7 Papa Kilo, final runway 24, Person County.
I think he asked us to extend our...
Well, we were all ready to turn when he said that, and I didn't know he was a Seminole. Seminole's a twin, so it's a little faster.
Got it. Is he behind us still?
Yeah, he's on the runway. So I would not have minded extending if I'd known he was, but he said 5 miles about the time we turned in base. If he'd been single, we'd have had plenty of time.
Yeah.
All right, make your turn.
All right.
And we're back to doing it normal. We needed to practice the go around anyway. I just would have preferred a little more time to explain it.
Yep.
But remember, wide open in the climb till you get to altitude. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to pattern or 3,000 or 10,000. It's
Okay.
wide open till you get there.
I'm just going to turn.
Traffic 72128, out on runway 24 on Alpha 5, and taxi back to departure on runway 24, Pacific.
Rouge traffic, County 6126 November. That's downwind runway 30. Rouge traffic.
We actually probably had more time than we realized. But I was watching him coming up behind us.
Siler City traffic, Cessna 5120 Papa is leading the traffic pattern to the west, Siler City.
Is that the same one that was flying earlier?
Yeah, that's the one that's been following you around all morning.
Great.
Okay, so think about your targets. You're good on altitude, you're on level, that's great. Power about 23, give or take. If you're anything other than that, you may have a tiny bit of pressure in your hand. Whatever that is, that is.
No?
Traffic 72128.
Good call.
Departure runway 24, remain close to traffic. Press my time.
Then a beam your touchdown, do your normal setup. Good, nose coming back, a little pitch coming up. Remember, you don't want it to drop till you slow down. Then hit your flaps. Good, a lot better. Pitch control.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Pressure in your hands changes a lot through this transition.
Person County traffic.
Tiny bit low on power.
Kilo.
Nose down just a little bit, right about there. Again, this is what you're seeing outside. Usually it's about 2 degrees nose down here, and make your turn. And person 2 Papa Alpha, turn at base 24 person. Now, it's again kind of a rule of thumb, not a magic number, but normally you'll lose about 500 feet a minute coming around this pattern. So you're about dead on it. About 80. Power probably ought to be up just a tiny bit, not very much.
Person County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24, Person County.
Now, your angle to the runway looks pretty good. You're about 500 feet up. That's about normal for a turn in. 5 to 7 is good. Okay, so we're doing 80, so now we want to roll out and put in full flaps, but not let the nose pitch up. Pitch the nose so you're aiming for the 1,000. You feel it wanting to pitch, that's your yoke coming forward slightly. It has to come forward. It wants to go the other way. Now you're managing airspeed with power. It's like your car coming down the hill to the stop sign. Angles look good. You're doing a great job of being steady. 500 a minute down. Speed's perfect. This is looking really, really good. This is what you want to shoot for every time. Nobody coming the other way. Ends coming towards us. Thousands are staying still. Perfect. Beautiful. Speed's gradually slowing. That's good. Good. Start the round slowly. Very slow.
Person County traffic.
3 stripes.
7 Papa Kilo turning.
Work them slowly.
24 Person County.
Wait, wait. Look at that.
That's pretty good.
I knew there was one in there somewhere. Now show me its twin brother.
Okay. That's always the death knell. Let's do that again. And I don't.
Now, that was by far the most consistent, best pattern you've flown. Okay? The plane never got off anywhere. Your pitch control was really good all the way around. Your power setting, your speeds, everything just kind of clicked.
There's hope.
There's hope. We're going to find a lot more of it real quick. Once you got 1 or 2 good ones under your belt, the rest of them start to happen a lot faster.
Traffic 128 left base runway 24, Patrol traffic.
Person County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for running 24, Person County.
Traffic similar 228, turning final way 24, Patrol traffic.
Person County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24, Person County. Okay, pretty much I'm making the touchdown.
Don't let the nose drop till it slows up. What you want is somebody in the plane with you never knowing you did anything. Power up a little bit higher. Now, you see, if you're doing the 90 or 100, if you don't bring that nose up and you put the flaps in, the flaps are going to go whoosh. Whereas if you slow down, it's just a small, subtle change.
Clear runway 24, traffic.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24, Person County.
Probably power up just a little bit.
747 Papa Kilo is on the left,
Pitch
downwind
control.
runway 24, Person County.
Right about there.
John Top 628, taxi back to departure runway
And
24, Person
square out your pattern. Don't be flying away from the airport. The wings pointed at the runway, you're not perpendicular. Feet got to work too.
That's a little bit far out.
Right, so power up a little bit. It's going to take more gas to get there. Like driving somewhere. Go the wrong way, take the long way around, takes more gas to get there.
Yeah. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24, Person County.
And what you don't want to do is your altitude's okay, but by pulling up with less power, you get too slow. Or you kind of stretch, what we used to call stretching the glide. Without the power, there is no miracle. And you just keep descending. All right, now we're looking better. So now you can start to bring the power back to about 17 again. Pulling it on back to about 17 and drop in the flaps, because otherwise we're going to be too high and fast. Pitch control, to aim at the 1000s.
747 Papa Kilo turning base,
Good.
runway 24, Person County.
Looking good. Now aiming for the 1,000-foot point. And person 2 Papa Alpha is half-mile final for 24 for touch and go person. Nice and steady. Looking great. Looking real good. Nobody coming the far end. Ben's coming towards me. Back to 1,000-foot pointers. And I don't stare. I move my eyes around. Staring's hard to see small changes. Looking good, speed's down to 70, doing great. Power cutting, don't let the nose drop. Remember, you're holding a steady slide. All the way out on the power.
Papa Kilo turning final.
3 stripes, start to work very slowly. Working, keep very slow. Get ready, pull more. Remember, if you let off a tiny bit to keep it from ballooning, it's just a split second. You got to pull again, because otherwise gravity is going to beat you. Right? But you're still not chasing it as much as you were earlier. That's an improvement. Felt that right foot come in. That's an improvement.
I wish I could fly every day.
Me too.
You do.
Almost.
Unless the weather doesn't let you. But my point is, if I could fly every day, this would be so different.
Yeah, and you're
Because
right.
I feel like every time I come back here, it's like, oh gosh, I'm spending how many landings just trying to remember everything. It's just so stupid.
Well, and you're correct. If you fly a couple or 3 times a week, it happens quicker than if you don't. But, you know, as long as you aren't going 3 and 4 weeks between lessons, which happens sometimes in the winter just because,
Yeah.
then it usually works out all right.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County.
Traffic 228, departure runway 24, Person County.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo will be turning left
Altitude?
Staying in the pattern.
Now, why does the plane keep wanting to climb?
I didn't lower the power.
Correct. It's trimmed to be about 100, and with the full power, level flight, it'd run 110, 115. So it's trying to change that 115 back to 100 by pitching up. Just basic aerodynamics. Now, if you get too low, of course you may be a little bit low on purpose to get back down. That's okay. That's perfectly fine.
A busy place.
At times it does get kind of busy.
Off right now. RP?
Yep.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo. Left
Nose
down
up.
runway 24 following
Full on it.
Cessna. Person County.
Good. Flaps to counter, because the nose now wants to go down to maintain 100. And the flaps, by putting them in, changes the chord line of the wing, which changes the whole game.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind, base for runway 24.
Dubai traffic, similar to what to do is left crosswind, runway 24, Person County traffic.
Now, watching, you're okay on speed, maybe a tiny bit slow on power and speed. Sync rate looks good, altitude looks good, but if you leave the power this low, we're either going to be slow or we're going to end up low. You know, it's an anticipation of results. Cause and effect.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24, Person County.
Up, and we're out just a little bit wide, not bad.
Downwind, runway 24, Person County traffic.
We'd like to be in just a little bit closer than this. The further you go out, the more likely it is you're going to end up low. And that is the killer in aviation, is low and slow. Looking okay.
Person County. Person County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo, turning base, runway 24, Person County.
Now, adjust as you see fit. Make decisions, do something. An eye on your airspeed. See that speed falling away, it's a matter of gravity is going to win. Gotta have airspeed, like blood. Lead out, the end result is usually very good. Not to mention, if you now pull the power off where you normally pull it off, you're going to be too slow. So pitch control to come down. Power back a little bit, we're doing fine. Looking about 3 stripes ahead of you, maybe 4, coming on down, power coming out. Now you can't hang it up here, you got to keep it sinking slowly. Work it very slow, but don't quit. If you quit, we end up hitting flat. And that usually comes from looking too far ahead.
Similar 21228, extending downwind,
Alright?
That was not so bad.
No, what?
I mean, I held off on the ballooning
Right.
because I felt it coming and I stopped.
Good.
So that's kind of a victory for me because I'm Mr. Balloon Man.
A lot of that's
I'm a
where,
yanker.
again, it's back to where you look. Your brain sees it rushing. It's a reflex like catching a ball.
Yeah.
If it's coming at you too rapidly, your brain reflexes by yanking on the nose. At least it knows to yank instead of push. But what we'd like to do is be further ahead. We'd like to know, just like in baseball, when the guy starts to throw the ball, we're watching it instead of waiting, turning around, and there it is on top of us.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24.
Traffic 223, final runway 24, person traffic.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24. No, I'm too low. Try to overcompensate because I'm pretty much the
Right.
1700 guy.
Yeah, and what you want to do is to just make an adjustment. You know, if you're a little bit low, just keep climbing. If you're a little bit fast or high or whatever, just got to decide which controls make the thing happen correctly.
Intersection, we'll be coming on in for full stop at Martinsville after we reach Bales.
Still made it to 1700.
Okay, 17's within reason.
I'm trying to be consistent.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo, left downwind, runway 24, Person County.
Repeat.
Yep.
Power. Level until.
Yep, keep adding. There you go. Laps. And about 17 on the power. And it's not magic, it just seems like, you know, if you hit the same targets each place, you end up with the same result.
Traffic 206 is 2 miles to the southeast. Will be turn on 40 miles downwind runway.
And we want to turn in base leg a little bit earlier, so about now. Don't want to keep going out. All that does is just burn more gas.
Traffic 228, now runway 24, person traffic.
Now, if you're not coming down, what could be the cause?
Power?
Oh, pitch control.
Oh, okay.
8 miles southeast.
Power wouldn't be an answer,
Left downwind 230.
but in our case, the power's set about right.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden we're not coming down, it's probably because the pitch control isn't right.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24.
Looking good?
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo, turning base, runway 24, Person County.
Nice. Right on target. All right, back just a little bit. Good.
We're at 70.
Yep, keep it coming down. All right, back a little more. Good. All right, all the way out. Don't pitch down. If you pitch down, all you do is dig a big hole. Remember, just steady. Just let the plane work to you.
On final, runway 24, Person County.
What do you think?
Getting better?
Still need to duplicate that good one. Not very consistent.
Well, that will come.
I know.
But you're right. You know, the more consistent you can start the building, the more likely it is you're going to get the right end result. If every time you do it differently, it is very tough to figure it out. But right now we're going out pretty flat, and I see a lot of horizon over the nose. Right about there. Which happens to be about 10 degrees nose up.
Yep. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24.
Okay, pitch over, power back.
Person County, traffic 747 Papa Kilo, turning left crosswind, runway 24, Person County.
Turn some more because you're getting out kind of wide. Nose down.
Touch up beam the touchdown point, carb heat, power.
Good. Let your nose drop a little bit to maintain speed. Good. Now a little bit of power. Now if your nose is too low, we're going to end up short. We got to create the ramp, the hill that ends up at the runway.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24.
And it's, again, it's just like your car. If the road's barely downhill, it might coast, but it's not going to coast to cruise speed. You get to decide how steep the hill needs to be.
Person County traffic.
Angle in a little bit. You're going away from it.
24, Person County.
Tiny bit more. Good. That's about perpendicular right there.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24. Make sure the runway's cleared.
Yep. It's about the way I do it. I do it so that people got plenty of time to get out of my way. Or at least let me know that they're in the way.
Person County traffic, symbol 21228, turning left crosswind, runway 24, Person County.
Okay, coming in a tiny bit low and fast. Now pitch back down a little bit. Power back just a shade. Not much. And you're in the game, okay? Speed's in the game. Power, pitch, sync rate. Come in together.
Person County traffic, symbol 2128,
And pitch control, pitch control, pitch control. Aim for the 1,000 foot. Watching your airspeed. If it's slow, you're either pitching up or you're powering back too much. Get too slow, add power back in.
6 pretty good.
Whatever it takes.
Okay.
Looking good. Power coming all the way out. 3 stripes. Let them come up slowly. Keep working, keep working. And remember, you can't quit. There's a tendency to think, okay, I'm here, and what it's telling me is that your depth perception's still off just a little bit.
Okay.
Which means that you probably still looking maybe a tiny bit close. Nose a little higher, right up on the horizon, about 10 degrees nose up, should give you about 75 to 80 on the airspeed. You're way faster, again, something happens, we don't have near as many options.
Blue Ridge heading on, Cherokee November 524. We're at Bales intersection.
If you climb at a normal pitch angle to get away from the ground, if we get 500 feet, we get back. If you go out flat, we're another half mile downstream, we can't get back.
Person County traffic, signal 212, turning left base, runway 24, Person County.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County.
Person County traffic, signal 2128, turning final runway 24, Person County.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24. The wind is really busier than I think.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo, turning left crosswind, runway 24, Person County.
It's almost like you're not making a little loop.
Well, you're in the middle of a big river, Mississippi. You're trying to stay a distance away from the shoreline. How you do it's up to you, but the currents aren't necessarily exactly level and straight. So if you're not where you want to be, it's up to you to put us back in the right place.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo, turning left downwind, runway 24, Person County.
Now think about pitch control. Don't get so caught up in everything else that you're forgetting about that. Number one, you've got to fly the plane in the air. Secondly, you got to fly it over the ground. Thirdly, you got to not hit other airplanes.
Wilkes County traffic, Cherokee 71 Kilo, 13 miles out.
But if you get so caught up in other things, you forget to fly your plane and position it, everything else is going to come unraveled. Now you're looking good.
On Alpha 5 and back to deposit 2124.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24.
Power's probably back a little bit too far. Right about there. Hear the sound? Watch your pitch.
I was looking at this, I wasn't...
Now you can't stare at that. That thing's way behind the airplane.
I wasn't staring, I was just looking at it a reference.
Okay.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24.
I don't remember who it was now. I had somebody trying to fly the airplane level by watching that, and that thing has a 6 or 7 second lag to it.
I overshot.
But okay. You overshoot a little bit, the wind's going to drift you back.
That's true.
Or you can just fly it back, your choice. But the pitch, the angles, the speeds, that's got to be in the game.
Runway 24, Person County.
Still fast.
So that's power. Altitude looked okay, so that means that's power. Just coming up to the stop sign too fast.
Person County traffic, November 747, Papa Kilo turning final, runway 24, Person County.
About 4 stripes ahead. Power coming out. 4 stripes.
That's pretty good,
Yeah.
considering that I was correcting all the way.
And I wasn't saying a word and I didn't touch anything. Before long, I'm not going to have a job.
Nah, that's a little bit premature. You seem to be a very busy man. Every time I come here, there's someone ahead of me or behind me. Got one later on today?
No, I thought I had something going on later, but it canceled.
Oh, okay.
That's part of the problem in this game, is that about 25% of the stuff you have scheduled gets canceled either for weather, or for mechanical, or for something that gets in the way of the project, or... And, you know, it's the reason I don't get upset when somebody says, hey, you know, I don't feel good, or I got to work late, or whatever. As long as they aren't consistently scheduling and canceling. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Atlantic 712-1228, takeoff on runway 24 and departure on the south.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 24. I tried.
Doing fine. You're about the right distance.
Okay.
You just keep coming around. Out over these bends down here is about the right distance.
Okay.
If you're out wider than that, then you're getting a little wider than you need to be, but you're in the game. Ought to be over these green fields.
747
Okay.
Papa Kilo turning crosswind, runway 24, Person County.
County traffic, Cherokee 720 Foxtrot Lima, 2 to the west with downwind traffic inside across midfield west-east, LF behind us at Arnhem.
Just a tiny bit wide. Not terribly bad, just a tiny bit.
Pretty much right
County
there.
traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo, left downwind, runway 24, Person County.
Again, as soon as something crosses your mind that it might not be perfect, it's up to you.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24, Person County.
Traffic 721-28, departure to the west.
We talked about power, pitch, airspeed. About 1400 is a pretty good altitude right here. About 800 above the ground. Bring it on around, however. You want to square this out. What you don't want is a U-turn. You want time to be able to look this way to my side and make sure nobody's coming in on a long straight in like that King Air.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24.
Person County traffic, Signal 2128, departure area southwest. Last call, Person County.
All. What does that mean?
That's a good question.
Selling something?
Hey, everything looks good. Don't drop the nose. Aim for where you want to go. Power back a little bit because you're just a touch fast. Keep working it. Okay, 4 stripes.
Person County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo, turning final, runway 24, Person County.
Yeah, you were beautiful, right up to just about that much much rotation. On the other hand, I didn't touch it.
Oh, you probably were grimacing the whole time though. I know you were, like, man, those mains.
Not on the nose.
Don't hurt.
Don't hurt.
Well, mains are not. I mean, I shouldn't abuse anything.
Mains will take a lot.
Well, but still, I just felt bad.
But you were a lot more in the game than you've been. Okay.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm focused more, and I think that the thing that's disappointing to me is exactly what you said. I got all the way there, and then at the last minute,
well, but
I wasn't reading things correctly.
Well, but what had happened in the early of this lesson, if you'd been in that same place, you'd have pitched 3 degrees higher.
Okay, that's fair.
So you're barely over rotating.
Okay.
And the trouble is you're not seeing that quite quickly enough. You didn't drastically over rotate. And then I think you actually continued to work it as it was coming down. It just, you used up most of it.
Yeah.
Now, if you found yourself very much further out than you were, you can bump the power up just a tiny bit. Not look at it, don't have time, just enough to hear it.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County.
And that little bit of extra power will give you a little bit of lift, and it'll give you a little bit more control of your elevator.
So it was just too much idle too soon, you think?
No, I think you did everything about right. It's just I think you flared a tiny bit too much.
Okay.
But it was actually, everything was looking good right up to that tiny bit too much, and it wasn't so far off I had to do anything. It was, it was all looking pretty good. You were nice and stable, you pulled the power out at the right place, everything was working great, and just a slight over rotation at the very end. But not by hardly enough to notice. And it's not to say that you don't want to continue to try to rotate as you come in. If you are, when we get to doing soft field landings, you'll be landing on the main gear and keeping the nose wheel in the air.
I'm a little bit closer this time.
Yep.
Good.
This time you're actually about where I teach it. Maybe a tiny bit close, but
that's
hard,
good.
you're pretty good on what I would normally want to see.
Good. I'm at 1600.
Guys, Hawk 985.
Cool.
824.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
All right. Carb heat.
again, about 17 or so. No lower than about 16, you're fine. And again, you know, as we come around, you can make adjustments.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24, Person County.
Now, the problem you have is you don't have enough power in.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24, Person County.
Your brain was getting conflicted between, am I getting too low or am I getting too slow? And in that case, it turns out that a little more power was a good thing.
Person County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo, turning left base, runway 24, Person County.
Right behind us.
Don't worry about him, it's his problem.
No. Just commenting.
Now,
Bad
this time you're going to be a tiny bit low. See the end of the runway kind of staying still and rising maybe? But if you pitch up without a little extra power, you're going to get too slow. And so now you're going to be about right, but you're going to be slow. That's the problem. So that's where power comes in. If you're going to pitch up, if everything's good and you need to pitch up, you need to power up as well. Pitch over, pitch over, pitch over a tiny bit more. Now you're about normal.
County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo on final, runway 24, Person County.
Nobody coming the other way. Looking about 4 to 5 stripes ahead of us. Power all the way out, letting it come down. Letting it come to you. Working it slowly. Wait, 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 wait. You know where you were looking. I saw you kind of raise up a little bit, and that means the pitch was blocking your view.
Yeah.
That's okay, except that what you need to do is swing your eyes to the side. And what happened was we just over-rotated and went back up about 5 feet. That one would have started to get ugly.
Yeah.
All right, and if you see that, the way out, you have the controls.
Okay.
If you see that, it's just go around.
Okay. I should have said something.
Yeah, just power up. You know, you can power up, but get your airspeed back, because again, airspeed's blood. You get your airspeed back a little bit, and decide, can I make this work, or should I just forget this one and come around and set up another one?
Okay.
I have seen people get laughed at for bouncing planes and so forth. I have never, ever seen anybody laughed at for going around.
Good point.
You try to make something happen that you shouldn't have tried to make happen, people might make fun of that. But if you say, hey, this isn't working, I'm going around, never have I ever heard anybody say anything bad about that, because we all know we all get there from time to time.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 24, Person County.
And it could be you went back to looking too close again. I don't know for sure, because you started everything correctly. You started the round out fine.
I looked too close.
And then all of a sudden we're ballooning.
Yeah, I looked too close. I definitely, because that's why I had to look up, because I was looking too close. The plane was in the way.
Right.
That was my fault, obviously.
Okay.
First County traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo.
And I'm way out.
Runway 24, First County.
Fix it.
So your distance right now is about right. So right now you want to turn back and just kind of parallel the runway. And you're correct. Depending on how hard the wind's blowing, some days you look like you're angled in, but it's tracking this way.
Right.
Some days you look like you're angled out and it's tracking that way. And it is a matter of being able to see it.
traffic, November 747 Papa Kilo, turning left downwind, runway 24, Person County.
Wilkes County traffic, Cherokee 9871 Kilo, 6 miles to the south. 5,000 feet direct to Happary. We're on the public mist on ILS 1. We're going to be holding in Happary for about 2 minutes. Wilkes.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 24, Person County.
Hornet, regional traffic, Cherokee 50 Lima, 2 miles east.
When you were training, you got to a point where they were teaching you how to glide in if the engine quit?
Not really.
Talked about that.
Talked about it, but we didn't really do it.
All right, getting a little bit low. That means you need power. Remember my chart, low and slow? The only way out of it's to chunk in enough power to save yourself. Got a transfusion here.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 24.
Can't pull up. You get too slow. Gave you that chart about high approaches. Okay, but the one you got to stay away from is the low one. And you're looking good. Now I go where you want to go.
7 Papa Kilo, turning down base, runway 24, Person County.
Hornet, regional Cherokee 50 Lima is over at the field, westbound.
Looking good. Nose down just a smidgen. There, right about there. Aiming for the 1,000-foot marks. Working to be over the center line. Good. Power coming. Well, no, your power's okay. Okay. Power back a tiny bit, nose down a tiny bit. Right there. Hardly enough to notice. Power back a tiny bit. That keeps you from picking up speed. Power all the way out. About 4 stripes. Nice and slow and easy.
Person County traffic, November 747
Wait on
Papa Kilo,
Be ready.
final runway 24, Person County.
4 stripes. 4 stripes. Better.
Better, but too rough.
All right, I got the last one. We're going to do a simulated engine out on this one.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, next time before we fly, I want to sit and talk about it. Make sure you tell me that.
Okay.
In case I should forget. So what's going to happen is, abeam our touchdown point, we're going to pretend we lost the engine.
Okay.
Which means I'm just going to pull the power to an idle. I used to, back in my wild and woolly days, I'd literally shut the engine off and glide it in, but
you're kidding me?
That's a little bit
Are you
more
kidding me?
No. Hey, if you can do it without the real engine running.
I know, but still, that's like asking for trouble.
Well, it is. You're absolutely correct. And I was pretty good with it right up until one of my students on his own decided to do it.
Oh, snap.
And he ended up, didn't damage the plane, but he ended up overshooting the runway. I better quit teaching people this. I always thought it was a pretty good confidence builder. You know, if you can do it for real when we're playing and when you got backup to helping you make decisions, then real life ought to help you have confidence that you can handle it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're after. But the truth is the motor idling is virtually the same as if it cut off, so it really doesn't make much difference. Other than that you know in the back of your mind I can always shove the throttle up and be good. So anyway, the deal is the things that will make this engine quit, the number one likely one is running it out of gas.
Right.
And there's no fix for that. Though I would, the selector being in the right place is important.
Runway 24 at Alpha Force, Person County.
only thing that's really fixable is if a carburetor iced up, and it doesn't happen much on light combings. Continentals are a lot worse about it. But in this case, if the carburetor ices up, the engine starts to sputter once. I'm gonna, as fast as I can get there, I'm yanking carb heat.
Okay.
The next thing I'm gonna do is mixture in, fuel selector, and keep the plane level, because I don't want to let the motor just quit. So carb heat, mixture in, fuel selector. Now I'm gonna trim the airplane a little bit high, ballooned a little bit when I was talking. I'm gonna trim the airplane because if I have it trimmed, I don't have to fight the yoke so much. And 70 is approximately the best glide speed. The next thing I'm gonna do is keep the plane in a lot tighter to the designated touchdown point than we've been doing. Okay?
All right.
So right now I'm not working very hard again. Person County 2 Papa Alpha is a simulated engine out for 2-4 and will be a full stop landing person. So what I want to do is I want to have this airplane looking like it's always looking slightly down. As I'm pretty sure I'm going to get there, then I can start to dirty it up. So I'm looking down at the runway. Would you agree?
Yep.
My target is going to be the second white stripe. That's my imaginary start of my runway.
Okay.
Actually, maybe the first white stripe, just for fun. So when I'm pretty sure I got it made, airspeed's pretty good, full flaps. Now, if I feel like I'm still a little bit high here, I can do a little bit of a side slip. And I can take it right back out. If I decide that I misjudged, turned into too much wind, and I can get that side slip right out of there.
Pretty cool. I didn't put that thing tight enough.
And notice that we've only used about 800, 900 feet. So that's the reason airplanes are safe. I don't need 6,000 once you start to get proficient at it.
I know, and I think that I need to start being less concerned about the length of the runway because there's always plenty.
The first airplane I had performed somewhat similar to this, wasn't quite as fast, had a higher lift wing on it, but I flew it for 9 years out of an 1,200 foot long runway. This is 1,500 right here.
Yeah, it's a lot longer than people think.
So, you know,
I'm getting used to it now.
Yeah, it's all a matter of how well you can control the plane, which is why I have you continually looking for that 1,000-foot marker. That's your target. You're always going past it by a little bit, but not way down the runway. And I think every landing you had today was within 1,000 feet of it. That leaves us 4,000 more to get the job done.
You're absolutely right. I remember in Raleigh we have the two runways, one's longer than the other, and I would always ask my instructor if I could take the longer one, but the longer one is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. You can land sideways across that thing.
So I've come a long way from not needing that runway anymore.